Sing, Oklahoma. I'm Amanda Simcoe. We are in the kitchen at the Galley Sig Test Kitchen inside Kitchen Ideas.
Lovely
and
kitchen.
We are here with the Cherry Street Farmers Market. We've got Chef Rick Miller from Farrell Family Bread, who is going to prepare our entree. What did you guys think of the salad course? I think Chef Valerie did an amazing job.
She did. It was wonderful.
That was
Beautiful plate.
awesome.
Beautiful.
Farrell Bread, you guys have been around for
Going on 15 years.
15 years in Tulsa, 81st in Yale.
Yale.
And you've been 10 plus years at the Farmers
Be
Market.
10 this summer.
Well, it's fantastic and it shows, and you have actually got a lot of local product.
A lot
that
of
we're
my
gonna
product
have.
today came from those folks. I got them like last weekend.
So what do we have
Well, what I'm going to demo is Swiss chard. Our booth is set up next to Tria Yang's booth, and they have all this wonderful produce, Swiss chard, they have all kinds of kale, they have all kinds of herbs, baby bok choy, things like that, and I hear 1,000 times, well, I wouldn't know how to cook that. And it's so easy, it's not even funny. So I'm going to demo this to go with our grass-fed organic beef short ribs that came from Cane's. It's spelled like K-O-H-E-N, but it's Cane's organic grass-fed beef.
And what is the difference with grass-fed beef? What's the benefit?
The big benefit is grass-fed, the cows are eating the diet they were born to eat. The omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid ratio in most cases of grass-fed beef is actually a higher ratio to the good than salmon is.
Wow.
So it's very, very good for you. And then there's the taste on top of that.
And then there's the taste on top of that. And much like the oxtail we talked to Terry, the short ribs you want to low and slow.
You cook them exactly the way Terry demoed the oxtail. You sear, you season it up, you sear it off real good. You put it in a pan or a Dutch oven or something, and you about half cover it with a flavorful broth. Hopefully somewhat the cooking juices, if it's not too fatty where you browned it. But I usually use, make like a gastrique, where you take like a cup of vinegar and about 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar and reduce it by half. And then add chicken stock, put that in over the ribs, and then add chicken stock to it. I don't add any, I'll usually will add a little celery, carrot, and potato, like you would a roast, just kind of some aromatics to help, not potato, onion. Celery, carrot, and onion, to give it a little bit of aromatics, and just adds a little layer of flavor to it. And you cook them really low, 275, 300 degrees for about 3 or 4 hours. Check it and pinch it, and the meat ought to just fall apart, and the bone should really almost slip out of it. A lot more flavor.
So we'll serve those with some beautiful greens. And the Swiss chard, I know it's one of those things that people look at and, man, that's beautiful, but I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Well, this is rainbow chard because you've got the yellow, the green, and the red. And a lot of people will cut the heavy part of the stem off and pitch it. Usually, if you'll cut these into little nibs, little bite-sized nibs, and start sauteing them off first, gives you a little bit of extra, and they're really crunchy. They're good. There's a natural sweetness to them.
Absolutely, you can smell it. When
yeah, and if the leaves are kind of big like this, which sometimes they get even bigger, this looks like a lot of greens right here, but this is enough really for 2 to 3 people on a plate because it will cook way down.
Much like cooking spinach or
like
any of your
spinach,
others.
absolutely like spinach.
A lot of that's
We
water.
start with a fairly hot pan with a little bit of oil, and if your pan's not too hot, start with a little garlic because you don't want to burn your garlic because it gives a really nasty taste. And then after you've washed them, don't over drain them. Keep the water on them really wet and just throw them in on the oil. You get a good little sizzle. Add just a little bit of salt. This is Grey Brittany sea salt. And then kind of give this a little bit of a toss in your skillet, in your pan, and then kind of put a lid on it. And all that water that was left on there will help steam it down. And then for a little added flavor, hit it with a little bit of white wine. Because I mean, what didn't go better with wine?
A little for the pan, a little for the chef, a little for the pan. And now, how long are you going to cook these?
This takes 10 to 15 minutes is all. But here is an example of what you wind up with.
The magic of
This
YouTube.
huge kettle, there's about 3 inches in the bottom of this. And I had this heaping up full twice. That's how much they cook down. And then when they get mostly cooked down, I usually will hit 3 or 4 pats of butter on it, just for a little. I mean, what would go better with butter? You know, it's kind of like bacon. It's cow's version of bacon is butter.
Absolutely. All right, wonderful. So we're going to pair these with a red wine, and you're recommendation was something Tuscan.
A good hearty. It's hard to go wrong with Tuscans.
So I called the boys at Collins Midtown and said, here's what chef says. So what do we have? And we have got the Zingari Toscana. It's 2010. It's an Italian blend of Merlot, Sangiovese, Syrah, and Petit Verdot.
There you go.
I think it's going to go beautifully. So thanks to the folks at Collins Midtown. And for those wanting more information on Feral Bread and what you will be bringing to
We
the
are
market.
on Feral Bread is on Facebook, Twitter, our website, feralbread.com. I try to keep our monthly baking calendar on there.
And I really appreciate you joining us this evening. Let's get some short ribs going for our audience, shall we?
Good, let's do it. They're ready.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back on Tasting Oklahoma.
My wife does my hunting and gathering on the
Convenient when you have one of those hunter-gatherer wives.
Yes.